Hello viewers, Wagadaruna taking you through the story for O-level mathematics. And this video we are going to go through the expected response for Senior 4 Math Mock for the year 2024. So this video is suitable for students right from Senior 1 up to Senior 4. So this is what we hope to upload in this holiday. What is ticked means is already available on the platform. What is not yet ticked means will be uploaded with time. So item 1 says, on 1st July 2024, Auntie Nyanya, a tomato seller in a market, purchased 8 packs of polythene bags of tomatoes, each containing 10 tomatoes from a farmer. She then sold a quarter of the total number of packs before meeting her longtime friend Peter, who decided to take her out for coffee at a hotel. As she was going, she left the tomatoes with a colleague in the market. At the hotel, Peter ordered for 2 cups of tea, each costing 5,100 shillings, and 2 plates of food, each at 20,000 shillings. As she was enjoying the meal, Peter told her that he comes to the hotel gym every after 4 days, and she also decided to be coming there every after a fortnight to exercise. On her departure, Peter gave her shillings 20,000 for transport, and on reaching the market, she found a sixth of the remaining packs of tomatoes damaged and could not be sold. She decided to repack the undamaged ones in new packs of 6 tomatoes to sell in small quantities that are preferred by customers. Task A. How many packs of 6s did Auntie Nyanya get after repacking? Task B. What percentage of the total number of tomatoes were damaged? Task C. Help Peter and Auntie Nyanya to know when they will meet again at the hotel gym. Task D. How much money in words did Peter spend on the outing? Task E. Advise Auntie Nyanya on what she can do with the remaining unpacked, damaged and undamaged tomatoes. Okay, so we shall begin with task A. Task A, we know that the number of packs sold is a quarter of the total, which were 8, to give you 2 packs. Then what remained was 8 minus 2 to give you 6 packs. So a sixth of what remained was damaged. That means 1 pack was damaged. The number of packs remaining after removing those will be 6 minus 1 to give you 5 packs. Number of tomatoes to be repacked will be 5 times 10 because each pack has 10 tomatoes. Number of packs in 6s means you divide this by 6 to give you 8 remainder 2. So she made 8 packs of 6s and 2 tomatoes remained unpacked. That was task A. Now task B. Task B says what percentage of the total number of tomatoes were damaged? Percentage of the total number. So you have to know the number of tomatoes that were damaged out of the total to give you 12 times 100 to give you 12.5%. Then part C, Task C says, help Peter and Auntie Nyanya to know when they will meet again at the hotel gym. So that is LCM. So fortnight is 2 weeks. So divide by 2. This divided by 2 is 4. This divided by 2 is 7. Then again 2. This by 2 is 1. This by 2 as a remainder, so we leave it as 7. Then 7. Remains 1. This becomes also 1. So that means that the LCM is 28 days. Since they first met on 1st July, add on 29 days to give you 29th July. So that's when they will meet again. Then task D, let's see task D. Task D says, how much money in words did Peter spend on the outing? So first of all, on the tea, he spent 5,100 for each cup, and there were 2 cups. Then on food, he spent 20,000 on each plate, and there were 2 plates. Then also on the transport, her transport, it was 20,000. Therefore, total amount spent will be 2 times 5,100 plus 2 times 20,000 plus 20,000 to give you 70,200 shillings as the total amount spent. Then task E, advise Auntie Nyanya on what she can do with the remaining unpacked, damaged, and undamaged tomatoes. So that means that there are 2: advice for the unpacked, damaged, and advice for the unpacked and undamaged tomatoes. So the unpacked and damaged tomatoes can help in value addition, can be used in value addition by making tomato sauce out of them. So you don't need to throw them away, you can use them for value addition. Then the ones which are unpacked and undamaged can be left on display to act as samples for customers to see how the tomatoes in the packs look like. Remember, the others were already packed, so a customer cannot see what is inside the packs. So these ones can act as display. And that's how you could get a total score of 20 in that item. Then item 2 says, an owner of a certain furniture company wishes to transport at least 500 tables from its store to your school. The company has 2 types of trucks, P and Q. Truck P can carry 50 tables at a cost of shillings 40,000 per trip. Truck Q can carry 75 tables at a cost of shillings 50,000 per trip. There is shillings 600,000 available for transport. The number of trips made by Truck P should not exceed the number of trips made by Truck Q. Okay. Hint: take X and Y to be the number of trips made by trucks P and Q respectively. So task A, it says, help the manager of the company to establish the number of trips each truck should make so as to minimize the transport costs. Task B, how much money is saved on transport. And task C, you are the head teacher of the school. What would you do with the remaining money? So this is under linear programming. What we are going to do, we are going to first do what we call interpretation. Now this one does not carry a mark, but it helps you not to make a mistake when you are listing down the inequalities to use. So number of tables, what did they talk about number of tables? Let's go back. They said about tables, they said the owner transport at least 600 tables. They should not exceed. They said at least, meaning at least is this or more. At least is this or more. So that means that in our table here, we shall come and say 50x plus 75y should be more than or equal to 600. Now, where is this 50 coming from and 75 coming from? It is because track P can carry 50 tables and track Q can carry 75. Let's see where it is written. It's here. Track P can carry 50 tables and track Q can carry 75 tables. That is about the tables. What about the costs of transport? Cost of transport, we have 40,000x and 50,000y and should be not exceed 600,000. Let's see where it is coming from. Here it says, that this is the cost for each trip, but there are X trips for track P. This is the cost for each trip, and there are Y trips for track Q. So when I add, I should not exceed, because they said there is this available, so should not exceed that budget. That is why we put here the less or equal to. Less or equal to. So next is about the number of trips made. Let's see here. They give us some condition that the number of trips made by track P should not exceed the number of trips made by track Q. Remember, trips made by track P is X. So X should not exceed Q. Therefore, the inequality will be X should not exceed Y. X is less or equal to Y. So I can go and write it there. Then also we know there can never be negative trips. There can never be negative trips. So this should be positive, and then here should be positive, and then the condition rating the 2. So that has been interpretation. Now we should write our inequalities. So the reason for this interpretation is that you don't write a wrong inequality. This inequality can be left with this or this, whatever you prefer. Second one from here. Third one, there is this, there is that. And that's what they wanted in that. That is what the inequalities now. But it's not complete. What did the task say? Task says, help the manager of the company to establish the number of trips each truck should make so as to minimize the transport cost. So here we shall come and get our graph paper. Before we get the graph paper, we need to get some coordinates or some points to plot. So for that region, we have that borderline. Borderline means where there was an inequality, you replace with an equal sign. Then you need 2 coordinates. When x is 0, y is 8 to give you this. And when y is 0, x is 12 to give you that. Then this one, borderline, remove the inequality, put equal sign. Then when x is 0, y is 12. When y is 0, x is 15. This one still, put equal sign. Any 2 pairs which are the same, y coordinate is equal to x coordinate. Then this one, it is y-axis, and that one, it is x-axis. Then now we can get our graph paper. Draw the axes, x and y axes, and label them. Then get a scale. Then do the same for the vertical axis. Get a scale. So now next is to plot. Plot 0, 8, which is here. Then 12, 0, which is here. Then join a line, join the 2 points to get a straight line, and label it. The next is to get the unwanted region. So if I choose the point 0, 0, I put here it becomes 0 is greater than or equal to 24, which is false. 0 cannot be greater than 24. So this is the unwanted part. So I shall shade that. Then next is 0, 12 and 15, 0. Then join with a straight line. Label the line. Then choose again still 0, 0. Put 0, 0 here. 0 is less than or equal to 60. It is true 0 is less. So this part is wanted. The unwanted is the other side. That's what we are going to shade. Then y equal to x, 0, 0 is here. And 12, 12 is here. Join the 2 and label the line. Then here I can pick a point here. Let me pick this point, which is 2, 0. So 2 here, and 0 here, it means 2 is less or equal to 0. Is it true? No, it is impossible. So meaning that this side is the unwanted region. So shade that. Okay. Then this one means we don't want negative values. So remove the negative values on the y-axis. This one means we don't want negative values on the x-axis. So that is the region they wanted us to represent. But they want the minimizing. So if you look at here, task B, it says how much money is saved on transport. So we need to look for minimum. So minimizing, you look for values towards the left and also the bottom. Values towards the left and also towards the bottom. So now you're going to get those points and put them in a table. You can either tabulate or you don't, whatever is okay. So this was I think you remember this, and in the interpretation, the cost, the transport costs. So I have coordinate 0, 8. When I substitute x here 0 and y 8, I'll come up with that amount. What about when I use 4, 6? I'll substitute here 4, here y as 6 to give you this. What about, so this one 5, 5, it gives you that. So to minimize it means I'll go with this. So to minimize, I'll need 8 strips of chew and no strip of track P. You're done. Then part B, the amount saved will be this minus that to give you 200. Part C, if I were the head teacher, the excess money would be, I would use the amount saved on other school projects. So that was section A. Now shall go to section B. Section B has also two parts. Each part has two items, and you attempt one item from each part. So let's start with part 1 with item 3. Item 3 says, a businessman in a certain trading center sells dresses in 3 sizes: small, medium, and large. His sales for a week were distributed as follows. On Monday, he sold 2 small, 5 medium, and 3 large dresses. Tuesday, he sold 7 small, 7 medium, and 1 large dress. Wednesday, he sold 3 small, 6 medium, and 1 large dress. Thursday, he sold 8 small, 6 medium, and 4 large dresses. Friday, it was 1 small, 6 medium, and 4 large dresses. Saturday, it was 8 medium and 1 large dress. Okay. The selling prices of the dresses were as follows. Each small dress is shillings 55,000. Each medium dress is shillings 70,000. And each large dress is shillings 85,000. A doctor of a certain health center gathered information about the weights in kilograms of adult patients who visited health unit in a certain month. The information was arranged in a table below and used to find out the weight of the majority of the patients so that he can recommend them for treatment. And these are the weights. Patients who weigh 80 kilograms and above are taken to be obese. And the doctor recommends that they do physical exercise to cut some weight. Okay, task A. Using a suitable method of presentation of data for the businessman, find the total income he got from the sales of dresses in a week. Task B. As a mathematics student, you have been tasked to help the doctor analyze this data. Help the doctor to find the mean weight of the patients. Roman 2. Investigate the most common weight of patients. And Roman 3. Determine the number of patients the doctor will recommend to do physical exercise. So we shall start with part A, presentation. Presentation can either be matrices or tabulation, whatever is okay. So let me choose matrices. There's a sales matrix for each day. And this is small, medium, large. Then the amount matrix will be that small, medium, large. Then I can multiply to get the total amount per day. The order of multiplication matters, so row by column. To give you that, row by column to give you this, row by column to give you this, row by column to give this, row by column to give this, row by column to give that. Then next is to use a calculator to simplify. So when I use a calculator, I'll simplify to come up with a 6 by 1 matrix. Therefore, I can now get the total amount spent in a week by adding all to give me that 5,005,000 shillings. Then here, that was task A. Task B, they want you to help the doctor analyze the data so as to obtain, let me see, the mean weight, most common weight, and the number of patients the doctor recommend to do physical exercise. Okay, so there we need to tabulate. So you come and draw a table, put the weights already given in the question. So those are the weights. Then the frequency, the number of patients, total is 100. Then the x, which is the mid-mark is the average of the two boundaries. This plus this over 2, 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 and this plus this over 2. Then now multiply f by x. So this by this, this with 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 that. Then I add all of them. Then cumulative frequency, keep on adding 3 plus 5, 8 plus 8, 16 plus 11, 27 plus 21, 48 plus 19, 67 plus 18, 85 plus 11, 96 plus 4. Then class boundaries, you keep adding 0.5 this side and subtract 0.5 from this side. So when you do that, you shall get that for the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. So that the marks for the table. Now mean weight. Mean weight, we should know the formula, summation fx over summation of f, to give you that as the mean weight. Then task B, we want the mode. So first get the difference between the model frequency and the pre-model. Then also get the difference between model frequency and the post-model. Then substitute in the formula to get the model mark or model weight. So this should have been model weight here. So now we shall go to item 3. Item 3, they want to determine the number of patients the doctor will recommend to do physical exercise. So here, 8 and above, it is from here up to here, which is 18 plus 11 plus 14. So those are the ones to be recommended to do physical exercise. So I'll come here and say that the number of patients recommended for physical exercise will be 33. And that's what they want. So now I shall go to item 4. Item 4 says, part A. In a school survey, 87 students were asked about their interests in sports, such as hockey, football, and volleyball. The results showed that 42 had interest in football, 43 in hockey, and 47 volleyball. Among these students, it was found that 15 have interest in hockey and volleyball. 17 have interest in volleyball and football, and 21 interest in hockey and football. Each student has interest in at least one of the 3 games. Task Roman 1. Use a Venn diagram to show this information. Roman 2. Find the number of students who have interest in at least 2 of these games. So let's first deal with part A. So part A, we shall need to draw a Venn diagram. Total were 87, and 42 had interest in football, 43 in hockey, 47 in volleyball. Then those who had interest in all was not given, so let's put a letter X. Then for volleyball and hockey, there were 15, that's why you say 15 minus X to cater for this. Football and volleyball were 17, so we say 17 minus X to cater for this. Football and hockey were 21, so we say 21 minus X to cater for this. Then all of them had interest in at least one, so outside here it is 0. Then you put unknowns in the remaining spaces, and we can now start solving for them. So when I say F, all these ones will be equal to 42. Simplify to get equation 1. Then NH, all these ones will be equal to 43. Simplify to get equation 2. Then all these ones will be equal to 47. Simplify to get equation 3. Those are 3 equations, but how many unknowns? We have unknown A, B, C, and X. 4 unknowns, 3 equations. We need one more equation so that we can solve simultaneously. Another equation will come from the total. All these ones will be equal to 87. So that means that when I add the whole of this, which is 42, plus this, plus this, plus this, plus this, I get 87, which is that. Then substitute for B, C, and C. You have only one unknown, which you can get as 8. So now that we have the value of X, it means we can also get the value of C, value of B, value of A. Actually, A will be 8 plus 4, which is 12. So this is 12. B will be 8 plus 7, which is 15. So here it will be 15. C will be 8 plus 15, which is 23. So here it will be 23. And here it will be 8, like that. So let us redraw the Venn diagram and fill in the actual figures. So we have that. We have 8 now. Then this is 7, 9, 13, 0, 15, 12, 23. So we're done with filling. Now we can answer Roman 2. Roman 2 said, find the number of students who have interest in at least 2 of these games. At least 2. So at least 2, they want these ones. These ones here. So add all those ones. That will be the number of students they want. And that is it. Then now shall go to part B. Part B says, part B, you are sent in a uniform sewing room of a school. As you reach the room, the uniforms are packed in a bag. The bag contains 3 white and 5 yellow uniforms. You picked 2 uniforms randomly from the bag without replacement. Task: what is the chance of the 2 uniforms picked from the bag being, Roman 1, of the same color, Roman 2, of different colors? So there we need to draw a tree diagram. So So if I pick white, this will now be 3/8. If I pick yellow, it will be 5/8. If I pick white again, it will now become 2/7. Here the balance will be 5/7. Here if I pick white, it will be 3/7, and here it will be 4/7. So now that we've drawn the tree diagram, we can go to task Roman 1. They wanted probability for same color, which can be this or this. So both white, it is this times this, or both yellow, this times this. When you add, you come up with 13/28. Then different colors, it can be first white followed by yellow, or first yellow followed by white, which will be this times this, or this times this, to give you 15/28. So that's how you could get a score of 20 in this item. Part 2, item 5, it says, there is a misunderstanding between a certain agency's employees and the revenue authority. A group of the employees complains that RA levies more taxes on their incomes than on the other colleagues, yet they work for the same agency. Each employee in the group that complains to be overtaxed earns a gross monthly income of shillings 1.2 M, while each of the employees in the other group that they are comparing their taxes with earns a gross monthly income of 800,000. Each of the employee of the agency gets the following allowances. Okay, 1. Transport allowance shillings 720 per annum. Feeding allowance shillings 1.8 per year. Housing allowance shillings 50 per month. All the employees are supposed to pay taxes depending on their income as shown in the structure below. One of the employees had saved money for a good number of years, and when he thought about where he could invest the money, he decided to buy a plot of land in a certain village. The grandfather, who is the owner of the plot, had partitioned the land in 2 different parts, with one piece of land with vertices L, M, N. The plot of land the grandfather was selling to the employee was to be located by rotating the plot this with a negative quarter turn about this. Okay, task A. As a student with a knowledge of income tax, determine the income tax, tax that was meant to be paid by each group in the revenue. Task B. Using a suitable graph, determine the coordinates of the vertices of the employee's plot of land that the grandfather sold to him. Okay, so let's start with task A. First of all, I need to first get the total allowances. Total allowances, we have transport, it is per annum, but we need monthly, so that's why we divide by 12. Feeding allowance was also per year, so we divide by 12 to get the monthly. Then allowances now, this divided by 12, you get this by 12, you get that, and this one was already monthly. So total of all this one will give you 260,000 as the total allowance per month. Okay, then now calculating the tax paid. So first of all, for the first group, the gross was this. remove the allowances to get the taxable income, which is that. Now that taxable income, we shall follow this structure which was given. We are given this structure in the question. This structure is what we shall use for the first 200, next 100, next 100, next 100, and even this difference from 500 up to 940, which is 440. So let's do that. So for the first 200, it was 0, so tax paid is 0. Next 100, it was 10%, so the tax paid is 10,000. Next 100, it was 20%, so tax paid is that. Next 100, it was 30%, so tax paid is that. Then the next 440, it was that, so the tax paid is that. Then you add all these ones to get the total tax paid. So income tax paid is that. That is for the first group. What about the other group, which was earning 800? So gross for 800, it means that taxable income will be 800 minus 260 to give you 450. So 450 means excess after 500 is 40,000. So they shall repeat the procedure. This is 0. Next, it was that. Next, this was something which we did. Our interest is the last part, because the last part now here it is 40,000 above 500, which gives that. So total will be that. So that is the income tax which is supposed to be paid by this group which earns 800,000 shillings as gross income. Part B was about plotting. We need to draw the axes, x-axis and y-axis. Then we get a scale for the horizontal and also a scale for the vertical. Then you can start plotting. First one, L, which was -26, M, which was 3.5, and N, which was 3.2. So I can join the vertices to get the shape. Then this will now be was the center of rotation, -3.1. It was rotated in a negative quarter turn. Quarter is 90. So the procedure to locate the image is by drawing lines from this center of rotation to each of the vertices. Then from there, I'll get a protractor and mark off 90. Do you see where 90 is? It is here. So measure that, remove the protractor and draw that line. So that means that the point L, image of L is along this line. But the condition is that the distance from the center to this must be the same distance from the center to the image. So what do? You get a compass, put a compass under there, and make that arc. So that means that this intersection here becomes our L prime, which is the image. Do the same for M. Put a protractor, mark off 90. I think 90 is here. Should go through that. Draw it. Remove the protractor. Get a compass. And draw that arc. That it becomes our point M prime. Then do the same for point N. Mark off 90. Remove. Get a compass, draw that arc. So that becomes our point N. So I can now join L prime, M prime, N prime, and L prime. Therefore, the required coordinates are this, this, and that, and that's what they wanted. So those are the scores. Then item 6. Item 6 says a certain construction company was given a contract of constructing a family house. According to the plan, these were the dimensions of the house. The boundary walls of the house are of the shape of a tube. Tube means all sides are equal, all sides 10 meters. Roof was to be designed in form of a square base pyramid with a perpendicular height of 15 meters. An engineer had advised the family to construct an underground tank at a certain position. As the father was locating suitable position, he started at the coordinate for 1, -4. According to the plan, he had to move 6 units left of the starting point, followed by 8 units down. He instead moved by the column vector this, and then followed by the column vector that. Okay. Task A. Sketch a diagram to illustrate the shape of the house. I think let's start with that. So we need to draw the tube first. That is the base. Put there the walls. Then on top we put a square base pyramid. We need to first locate the center and the height. That becomes your vertex. Okay. So that is what they wanted. So part B Roman 1 says, determine the angle between the opposite planes of the pyramid. So that is the reason why I extracted out this triangle here to help us get the angle. So if I get this part, that is half the required angle needed. So let me first get theta from SOHCAHTOA and then multiply by 2 to get the required angle. Then Roman 2, they ask for the total surface area of the house. So total surface area, we have to get the area of this triangle and multiply it by 4, then the area of this face and multiply it by 4, like that. But for this triangle, you need to get this height here. That is why I'm getting VI. Do you see this VI? It becomes our height of the triangle. Now that I've got it, I can now get the area of that triangle and multiply by 4. So 4 times a half base height plus, which is that, to give you that. Then also area of the walls, 4a squared, because this was the tube, to give you that. Therefore, the total will now be got by addition, to give you that. So that was Roman 2. Roman 3 was about the volume of the house. Volume of the house. volume enclosed by the walls is S cubed. Then volume enclosed by the roof is a third base area times height, which gives that. So total volume will be got by addition. Then we shall go to task C. Let me see task C. Task C says, state the father's final coordinate and identify whether he was able to discover the right position of where the underground tank was meant to be placed. So the suitable starting point was that, and the translation according to the plan was this. Therefore, the actual position where the tank should be was got by adding starting point plus the translation to give you the image. But instead, the father made a translation of this, which gives you -9, -2. So the final position where he reached was starting point plus his translation to give you this image. So the coordinates of the father was this, and it didn't reach the exact position of where the tank should have been, because the actual coordinate where the tank is -5, 12. And that's what they wanted. So that's how the 20 scores could be got in this item. And that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you.